Welcome to Four Letter Nerd. I'm your host, Mayhem Mike. Four Letter Nerd is a Hyrule Geekix Unlimited production. The show for adult geeks like myself. Woo! I really feel like we needed special effects for that one. Today is a special day. In this episode, we have a big surprise coming to the stage for the first time in a long time. Long time listener, first time caller. It's my friend and everybody else's favorite, Michael Burgie. Burgie, what's up?
What's up there, Mr. Mayhem? How you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
Long time no see. I love the beard. It's getting longer.
I got to get it up there a little bit. I got to get a little gray out, but I'm getting it there.
I love it. Oh, you're even watching us. I love it. I love to hear it.
Actually, I'm not watching it. I'm not listening to it. I don't know where that's coming from. It's not from me.
Oh, that's interesting. We'll figure out the echo just now. You hear that, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Let's see. That's me. But anyway, moving on. Joining me with me today is our favorite hater. I'm sorry. Sorry, I said tater. Random guy that likes to give lists, of course. My favorite Hobbit, Mr. Grouch himself.
Hobbit? I'll have you know, sir, I am the size of a dwarf. Thank you. No hobbits here. Dwarves only. Get it right.
So you're 3 apples high, or are you a little taller?
A little taller than 3
Okay. All right. So are we calling you Grouch Smurf, or?
Well, no, I'm just Rob the Grouch.
Grouchy Smurf?
He was Mike the hater. Thank you. Thank you.
La, 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 la,
I hate it.
Bah humbug.
Oh my God! All right. And before we go any further,
And Bergie is thrown off after 2 minutes into his first episode. Muted.
He's gone, ladies and gentlemen.
Apparently, we have to bring in our favorite cat of 2 said locations. Lady, Cat, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be joining this program that's already well in progress.
We're already off
Only
the
2
rails.
minutes.
It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Sounds about a lovely Wednesday, right? Listen, we have fun on this show. We talk a lot about different shows. We talk a lot about each other. And I think it's time we talked about the elephant in the room. What is Marvel doing with Disney's? I don't know. It's just this Disney sections of Obi-Wan Kenobi and, of course, Ms. Marvel. I mean, I love the fact that attempts were made, but I think we need to talk about it. So here's what I'm going to do.
Wait, let me interrupt you first because I made a little something for us for this because
Oh, okay.
I like to be a little extra.
We like extra.
You missed the City of Gold. I just
Oh.
If this turns into a Rickroll, I'm leaving.
It's okay. It's okay. Now that I know that you don't like that, I'm gonna have to go and do that.
Great. Now we're gonna be rickrolled every episode.
Well done. Well done.
Well done. We have Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously, versus Ms. Marvel series. And honestly, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have a lot to say about it. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, I'm going to put our newest guy on the spot and tell us, Mr. Burgie himself, what did you think about Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I actually liked it. I'm a big fan of anything that I get Star Wars to be on TV and get more of the lore of it. And I like that they've ventured out into different characters from his day and age of where he was after the fall of the Empire and stuff. And when you see how much he fell, like the rise of Obi-Wan and how much he dropped all the way down to being a broken man, and to see him come back from that and to see his loss that he has to struggle with and deal with throughout everything, not losing his best friend, his brother, his mentor, the Jedi Order, and doing all of that and seeing where he's come from that. I think it's actually fantastic. And to see him, I think, Ewan McGregor is a phenomenal actor. So to get him in this role, to see what he's done, I think is absolutely amazing. I think the little girl that plays the Carrie Fisher's role of Princess Leia, I think she stole every scene she was in. I absolutely love her. I think she was fantastic. I had some issues with the Inquisitors, the way the Grand Inquisitors looked, and the second sister and everything. But overall, I think they could have done a little bit more with some of that storyline, and I think we will see maybe more of that, whether it could be in Ahsoka or other shows that could be coming out down the road with things. If I'm going for a solid out of a 10, I say an 8. 8.5,
Ooh.
maybe, I think is my third sister. I apologize. You're right. I think that's where my rating is, about an 8.5 out of it is where I say it goes.
8 out of 10, Virgie?
8 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
That's
all
okay.
right.
Let's hear your haterade. I'm ready to debunk it.
You know what?
He's already ready. He's already ready.
Excellent, Smithers. Excellent. Let's go.
I'm gonna respect your positive view on this, because you did say there were certain things wrong, and what I don't want to do is I don't want to jump the gun, as there are other people who are going to speak about Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, and I will definitely let them speak on it. But 8 out of 10, I feel, is really strong. It's like I said hi to you, and you're like, "Hey, you see that guy right there? We go together." I just said hi. Like, what's going on? That's how strong I feel it is.
I gotta mark the territory, man. It's Obi.
That's what. Call the police. Kat.
Yes, darling.
Tell me. Okay.
I am not going to be as kind as Bergie, but I definitely am not going to be as much of a hater about it as you are, I'm sure. My biggest issue with Obi-Wan is not with the actress that played Leia or the character of Leia herself. As Bergie said it, she did a great job. She knocked it out of the park. So cute, so engaging, and they really beautifully casted. I'm going to say that the entire film was. Every person that played their part well. However, I feel like for something that was supposed to be a limited series, it didn't really have a clear vision. We had a lot of things that just kind of went nowhere. And I'm a little bit tired of seeing a show centered around a child, even if that child is Leia and Luke, to a certain extent. I would have liked an Obi-Wan story where it's Obi-Wan kind of trying to move past this betrayal and this failure that he feels that he did. And I kind of felt like it was a cop-out to have Anakin tell him, "You didn't do this to me, I did this to me," kind of letting him off the hook. It feels like it didn't feel natural that or in line with Anakin as Darth to have said that, to like give him this gift of like, you don't have to feel responsible for where I am right now. I did this to myself. I would have liked to have seen a story about Obi-Wan that wasn't centered around the Skywalkers at all, and just having him kind of push through and progress and kind of do. Now, the fact that we're getting more, I hope that it takes us away from that, because one of the things that I really liked about Obi-Wan, and the same thing that I liked about the Book of Boba and even The Mandalorian, is this expansion of the universe and seeing different kind of aliens, home planets, new characters, new storylines. I thought they did a really the visuals are beautiful. So overall, I would give Obi-Wan a 7 out of 10, because I don't think I personally don't feel like they did Obi-Wan the justice that he deserved. Like, he deserved to be the center of his own story. And I feel like he took a backseat to many different characters where he was almost like, I don't want to say a side character, but he definitely didn't feel like the main character here. It was about all of these other little pocket stories that were going around him and his reaction to it. And for someone who had such a responsibility to Leia, he left her with randoms a lot. Like a lot. So, but overall, I loved it. I do hope we get more of it, and I'll always take any more Star Wars. I don't care what it's centered about. I can't get enough of it. So just inject it right in there.
Straight into the vein.
Yep.
Thank you for that. So 7 out of 10. We have an 8 out of 10. It befalls me to ask the one person on Sesame Street who may or may not have a TV in his Oscar the Grouch can.
Don't you behave?
If you ever saw Elmo in Grouchland, you'll
Grouchland.
see that trash can is like a TARDIS. It's much bigger on the inside.
Yes. Yo, shout out to you. Remind me to send you something, because my sister loved that series, that DVD. I forgot the guy. I knew that song. I see you take it, then I make it mine. Like,
Oh, Mandy Patinkin, Inigo
There you
Montoya from The Princess Bride. Yeah,
he was,
What?
first of all, he was amazing.
he's amazing in everything.
I'm inclined to agree. He was in Elmo and Grouchland. My little sister, my youngest, and my oldest and my youngest sisters loved Elmo, aka Adi. That's why I'm putting your business out there. So if you see this, or your friends are gonna make fun of you, and let me tell you, we watched that DVD back and front. Okay,
And that the songs are
they're
bangers.
great.
Vanessa
Yeah.
Williams.
Oh, I
You
forgot
can't
she
go
was
wrong with
there.
Vanessa.
Oh my goodness! But
Yeah.
Kat is right. Oscar, it's like a pipe, like Mario World. Like once you go in it, it's like boom. It's a sub level, but it's not coins down there. I will tell you that much.
I don't know how I feel about this analogy anymore.
But
It
it's
started off as
true.
something, and I don't know where you are because you gave me directions, and that's not where we are right now. That is not where we are right now.
He doesn't
Yeah,
even
I'm
know
gonna
where
go
it's
off on a
at.
tangent and say that Oscar the Grouch might be a Time Lord.
Ooh.
You go in one end of the trash can, you end up in a different world if you go out the other. That sounds very wibbly wobbly, timey wimey to me.
He is the most powerful Muppet on Sesame Street.
There you go.
Except Elmo's second because of all the views. Grouch Man. Tell me
Yes.
what you think about Obi-Wan Kenobi series so far.
All right, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I did enjoy it overall. It did have that slow buildup, which I'm okay with the slow buildup as long as I get the payoff in the end. And dear Lord, did we get the payoff in the end? Because
Mm-hmm.
that fight, bruh, when our man's decided, you know what? Let me talk to the Force again. We ain't talked for a minute. Let me get back in line with the Force. Let me get down with the Force and see how, see how things are doing, see how I can do this. And he sat there and he's like, yeah, we can do this. And that fight, soon as he struck that Obi-Wan pose, it was done for Vader. It was done. I'm like, Vader, it's a wash. He did this to you already. It's a wash. So you should stop. But he didn't listen. But that's the end. But the buildup, there are parts where it did feel like it was filler. Like, why are we looking at these people over here when the name of the series is called Obi-Wan? I want to see what Obi-Wan is doing. I want to know what Obi-Wan is doing. Yes, we do need to know what, the sisters and the brothers and all those guys are up to. A little bit about I like the little drops of Vader here and there every now and again. But all the random people and aliens, just here's a random alien in person. I'm like, why am I following them? What's this got to do? Okay, cool. We'll go this way. We'll follow them. It did feel like there was a lot of filler, like there is in anime, just interspersed throughout the episodes. I didn't mind it for the most part, but I did mind it because I was like, I want to know what Obi-Wan is up to. Because I've seen what they've written in the comic books that are now the new canon, not the old canon, because the old canon don't count no more because they got a new canon that fires fast. Whatever.
So many cannons. So many cannons.
That's right.
They've got
And
an auto target cannon now.
They do. And I was really looking forward to seeing him in his fight with Black Krishantan. Like, I wanted to see that. I'm like, it's a giant gladiator Wookiee going one-on-one with Obi-Wan, and he survives it with one scar. I need to see this fight. And I'm like, oh, that's not where we're going with this. We're focusing on year 10 this week right here. Okay, I guess. But there's so much more story that they have set aside for Obi-Wan and what he's doing inside that series. I'm like, I'm excited for what could be, but I was a little let down with what was. Because I didn't expect, lightsaber fights and gunfights, all throughout the series. People got to talk. People got to, set their boundaries. Like, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to get there. I get that. There's just a little bit too much of that in it. I'm like, I know who Obi-Wan is. I know who Darth Vader is. I played the game, so I know who the what is the name of the group of those fallen Jedi and Force sensitives that hunt Jedi? What? Now I feel bad. But that group, I know what the group does. I forget their name, but I know what they do.
Inquisitors.
The Inquisitors. Thank you, sir. I know what they do. Yes, no, he don't help. He's gonna let me just flounder, sit there and flop. No, I know who they is, and technically, yes, it does break the canon of the original trilogy of her not knowing who Obi-Wan is technically. But yes, granted, she's 10, but I'm sorry, the guy that was running around the galaxy with me for a week, I'm kind of sort of going to remember that guy 9 years later.
Yeah.
That's
You
just me.
I mean, you kind of remember your first kidnapping, at least.
Exactly. You remember that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, that was Flea from Chili Peppers, but hey, whatever.
Exactly. And then you fall off a building and get levitated up and to the ground. This kind of sort of sticks with you.
No,
And
I got a
the
question for
trilogy,
you, though.
she didn't speak nothing
I have
of
a
it.
question.
I have an answer.
Does anybody else want to know what it feels like to be safely like touched by the force? Like if somebody lifts you up, because I want to know if that's different from like I don't know Jean
Like
Grey
jumping?
and her telekinesis. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to feel how it. I just want to know
think
how
it would
it
be the
feels.
same. It would be the same.
No.
I don't think so.
No,
I
no.
think
Ooh,
I think
oh.
the force would be
Keep
more
the force
natural.
off me.
Oh, I'd love to see what it felt like. That'd be awesome. But now I got a question for because the Grouch here said that here Alaska he said that like where she didn't know him. Where did they ever say that in the lore that she never knew who he was in the original movies? They never mentioned
when he died and they all watched him die, no emotion. Like Luke
Well,
is the
she
only
had
one
no
that
emotion for Alderaan blowing up too. She was just written that way.
Yeah. You got to figure that's at least a good 15 plus years since her kidnapping to that time when he passed away. There is no real emotional connection. At least Luke had a little bit more of a connection with them because of the adventure he'd been on to get to that point. So I get that.
But I also think that she was already dealing with the trauma of losing her parents, her planet, all of that. And then Obi-Wan on top of that. She might have been, this was just bad writing. That's legitimately what it was. But to try to explain it for the character, it could have been a trauma response. She had to shut down and focus on the mission. Because she's the general. Well, she becomes the general, but fighting for the rebellion and doing what she's doing, you kind of have to have a thick skin and be able to push through loss.
Because
that's what
obviously
war is.
She
There's
did
a lot
know
of
who
loss.
he was because she sat there and said, "Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope." And he basically gave her that as a child, like, "Hey, I'm here to help you if you ever need it." In a way, that's why she reached out to him. So she did know of him.
At least.
Yeah.
At least, yes.
Okay.
It's just the whole running around for a week, almost dying multiple times. I think I'd give it more of a message of help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You fought with my father in the Clone Wars.
They hadn't written the show yet, Reg.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So no.
Reggie's like,
listen, maybe she only had it. Maybe it was like a TikTok video length. She only had 3 minutes.
She had a Vine.
Oh my God!
Right. She had
60
to
seconds. That's it.
She had to fit it within the time constraint that she had. If she made it too big, then R2 wouldn't be able to upload it. It would have been a mess.
Remember, R2D2 is like
Listen,
60 years
I'm
old.
I'm gonna plug all those holes for you.
He's got 256.
My nails are strong. They're brand new. They're at their strength, and just I'm gonna plug those holes.
I'm going to stop the continuity police from going out to the public. Okay?
You cannot stop me.
Okay.
Don't restrain my power.
Stop right there. You forgot what happened here. Listen,
it's all fake, Reggie. It's all made up.
No, it's real to me.
I mean, you got to think about it.
Yes.
She was also able to survive in space by putting herself.
We're not talking about Space Mary Poppins right now. We're not talking about Space Mary
I'm
Poppins.
just letting
Let
you
me
know
tell
when
you.
it comes to she has
the flying Jedi. I mean the nun.
That when she did that little thing with her finger, and then it just zoomed her. She zoomed herself.
Listen,
oh the God,
like I said,
scream so
she
loud.
has the power of plot armor. Okay, so whatever works for her, it works. Okay, R.I.P. Oscar.
Yes.
What?
6.5. You can't get it out, but 6.5.
Really?
I enjoyed it, but I want more.
6.5. 8, 7, 6.5. Okay. I would like to start off my my judgment of this show by saying there's a special meme that holds a place in my heart where Vader goes, "You cannot beat me, Skywalker," and Luke takes out a step stool, and Vader goes, "Wait," and he goes, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground," and Vader starts sobbing, and that's how I feel. That's how. If you didn't get it, it's fine. that's how I feel this story should have been written. It should have been written in a more funnier way. It was dope. It was dope that they attempted to explain what we kind of wanted to see. We kind of wanted to see what happened afterwards. We wanted to see before this whole thing kicked off. We wanted to see what Ben was doing. Excuse me, Obi-Wan was doing all this time. You know, what did Princess Leia was like growing up. It started off so strong, like okay, and then they failed. Where did they fail for me personally? They didn't expand the universe. We've had this stuff before. We're tired of the Skywalkers. To an extent, we are tired of the same kind of Jedi. You know, we want to see more Sith. If I had the person to my phone, I remember that person. Everybody remembers the first kidnapping. I'm just saying.
Well, he knows that it's old Ben. He just doesn't know that old Ben is Obi-Wan Kenobi because he knows him as Ben.
We
But I
need
agree that the beginning when he's in that conversation with the Jawas was hilarious.
yes. It was amazing. It was like okay, this has so much promise, but then you fall by the wayside. Now the third sisters, I was reminded of them in the later Star Wars game, and I was like, oh yes, this would be dope. So when they brought them in the series, I was like, oh okay, so we'll get. I say coven, but it's obviously not the coven. We'll get the third sisters. We'll see how that hierarchy goes, and it's just one, and it's just like that's it. There's more. You know, why didn't you explore on that? Where's the gray Jedi? Where's the moral ambiguity of some of these people that should be expanded upon? Because you know what? Not every.
Technically, last time we spoke about that, I looked it up. Technically, there are no gray Jedi in canon. Because
Why not?
Coder is not canon.
I
So
understand.
Jolie Bindo is not canon.
But as we talked about, like, why not introduce them? There are some Jedi, oh, excuse me, there are some force sensitive people who don't agree with necessarily the Jedi way or the Sith way. And they're very important because that's very reflective of the world. You know, maybe you're not, I don't want to say left or right. Maybe you're not A, maybe you're not C. So maybe you're B. You're not red, you're not green, maybe you're blue. Why not do that? And that adds more. You got to expand the universe. Aside from that, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think they are gonna expand on that because they have the light. I think it's the new not comic line storybooks that they're working on right now for to set like 1,000 years before everything goes on, and they're gonna start explaining some of the Jedi's and different types of Jedi's. So we are looking at the past more than we are what we have currently seeing.
I think any former Sith or former Jedi, and I know one is more likely than the other, is automatically a great Jedi. They may not call it a great Jedi, but if you were raised a Sith and you're no longer a Sith, or if you're raised a Jedi and you're no longer a Jedi, but you're still doing things based on what your morality and your views and your life experience at that point, you are a great Jedi, just not by name.
And you
but
could
just
have,
have something to reference it by, we can call them great until
Right.
they make it canon.
and
Ahsoka to me is a great Jedi.
I think
Yes.
she's a great
Fair.
Jedi all day.
Yes.
Yes.
Fair.
And I
Well,
was gonna
we
say,
all agree on that.
I think you got the third sister who now is a gray Jedi.
Exactly.
And also with
Right.
one of the one interesting thing is one of the names that Obi-Wan was excited when he saw on the wall was Quinlan Vos. Quinlan Vos was a Jedi who went to the Sith side and came back to the Jedi. So he could be another great Jedi, and I really think they might touch upon him in future seasons or maybe his own show or something.
That would
Did
be
they have him
fantastic.
stuck in the jail though at the bottom of that prison?
No. So if you watch that, the one that they had in the jail was the first kid that was basically assassinated by Anakin in the movie. The second Jedi they show you is the librarian from the Clone Wars, who technically is one of the more powerful Jedis of her time, but because of her age, she was diminished. Remember, that's a woman that went against Asajj Ventress and beat her.
Ooh.
Now, Asajj Ventress took Anakin and Obi and Ahsoka to a standstill.
Right.
And that granny whooped her. So
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's like when Yoda enters the chat.
Yeah.
He almost did. He was ready. So like you see, when we talk about these characters that haven't made the screen yet, they add so much depth and lore to an ongoing story that we need. You know, it's not necessarily we need the Great Jedi. We need what they stand for and the complexity of the story that makes us want to watch it. Because I'm tired of watching this movie, the show about a kid, particularly a Skywalker or someone who may be Skywalker adjacent,
Mhm.
Yes.
right? Right?
Yes.
Then it's
Leave
like
the Skywalkers alone.
I'm mad that some guy wanted to tell some girl that he was force sensitive and not that he was in love, because it definitely seemed like he was in love in that movie. Goddamn.
Oh my God, that man, I got mad at that. I
Hold on,
got
hold on,
mad.
hold on. Great actors, nonetheless. It wasn't their fault.
Yes.
Love it, nonetheless. What I would like for them to do, especially for like the Mandalorian, is show certain stormtroopers who are actually great at their job. You know, the not the stormtroopers we know that are like pew pew miss miss. Show the actual ones that have Beskar armor and such to stop Jedi's from killing them, and that are good at
Let's
target
have
practice.
Daniel Craig's trooper come.
Oh,
Yes, that would be amazing too. 007, yeah,
and
that
Kevin
would be amazing.
Smith.
Simon
Yeah.
Pegg.
Is also Simon Pegg.
Let's have
Bring
them
him.
do more.
Bring him.
Let's do more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I would
give
like
us a
to
Rogue One
see.
scene.
It's like I feel like Disney has this idea that to make it to get the kids, because I know that they want to have as broad an audience as possible, and Disney is very kid centric. Maybe they just feel like having a kid makes it more appealing to other kids. But know your market too. Kids are not stupid. When we were kids, we were watching movies and shows and things about adults.
Right.
And not because there was a kid in it, but because these were adult things. Like how old I was, I don't know. I obviously didn't watch Star Wars when it first came out because it came out a year before I was born. But I was watching it at 7 and 8 years old, and there were no little kids there to engage me. Same thing with like Krull or any number of these epic sci-fi fantasy shows that we all
Right.
watched as kids. It was not about little kids. These were teenagers and older for us to look up to. And I think that Disney kind of needs to wrap its mind around that and give us more adult shows that are not centered on little kids, because little kids like to watch stuff like that anyway.
See, the problem with Disney right now is when we were back when that first came out in 77, 80, and 83, there was no toy lines.
Right.
Nowadays, Disney drives everything based off the toy line. So that's why you notice when you're watching Obi-Wan, you see all these background characters. Star Wars and Disney doesn't care about the average fan. They're caring about the collector because that's profit. They're looking at money that they're going to make. So that's why they're catering towards the kids in some of the episodes and some of the stuff, because they want the toy lines, because that's where they're going to make their money.
Yeah, but the people buying the toys are us, not those kids.
Right.
But that's the problem. That's where Disney needs to really step back and go, okay, well, Star Wars is geared more towards the older crowd, but they want the younger crowd to keep them in. No, the younger crowd's going to go towards the Marvel stuff, not the Star Wars stuff.
I agree with you 100%, but I also think that kids like adult-centered things
Yes.
too.
Beast Wars. Come
And,
on.
Like, but again, just referring back to all of us as children, we're watching shows that were centered around adults, and we fully bought into it. We had the action figures, and we had the posters, and we had the comics and stuff as children for adults or teenagers and older, because to us, the teenagers were pretty much adults when we were little. But keep that energy. You don't have to, and I don't want to say that they dumbed it down, but I do feel like they skewed the story to be able to fit in this child-centric story. And I would have appreciated, like I said, an Obi-Wan story that was centered on Obi-Wan, and it didn't feel like this show was. And that is what upsets me, because we were all hyped for an Obi-Wan show. And that's not what we got.
Agreed. No, agreed. 100%. They had the capability to do it. Jedi Fallen Order was a great story. Cal was amazing, and it showed so much more depth. I don't know what they did toy-wise, but I know the game did very well. So you take that same principle and apply it. Like, we want to sell toys? Let's make a great story to go with it. And like Kat said, address it to the kids, the teenagers, the older heads, who are kids at heart for this series, and let's do it. I'm going to move forward and give my rating. Thank you guys for your opinions. I'm actually going to give this a 7, only because I'm being generous. And I feel like we have shut up, Reg. I feel like we have a lot more promise if it does come back. The fight scenes especially towards the end, really boosted the score. Although I am a little mad at the fact that not magically, he professionally, like, he sliced the helmets, like, whatever. You know what? Whatever.
They
It was
had to
done
give
for.
a reason for that scar on
Wait.
Vader's
I
head.
understand,
I have
but it
I
was.
have I have one thing
Talk
that I
about this.
I do think they missed an opportunity on, and I really do. And I was talking to some other fans of like Star Wars, and they said the same thing. When Vader had him in the hole, tell me you did not want to hear Vader sit there and go, "I have
I
the
have
high
the high
ground."
High
ground.
ground.
Yes.
I
And
was
then
waiting for it.
I almost jumped off my couch. I'm like, please say it, and he didn't say it. I'm like, why did they waste that?
I'm
Look-
mad that we did not get that, but we got a hello there.
Yeah, hello there. You know, that was great, but why did he not say, "I have the high ground now, Obi-Wan," and then
Yes.
buried him? Oh, come on.
That would have been great. Yes.
Right.
That would have made it probably a
That would've been
10
great.
right there, just to every fan of the universe.
Fair
Would be
enough.
like, nope, done.
And I also feel that wait, and there was a meme. It was hilarious. Can we give a spoiler?
Yeah.
Alright.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler.
So at the
Spoiler.
very end of the last episode, when we see the Force ghost of the fully corporeal Force ghost of Qui-Gon,
Yep.
Mhm.
there was a meme of Qui-Gon, but he had like an umbrella and like a bottle of water. He's like, "How's the training with Anakin going?" And you just see Obi-Wan's face. That final scene when Qui-Gon turned around and he and Obi see each other, I fully expected Obi-Wan to look at him and be like, "Well, fuck you."
Where are you?
that
Look what you
reunion
gave me. Look at this.
was
You
very
did-
Disney, and I get it. They're wizened Jedi. They're beyond the bullshit. But I was so hoping for him to be like, "You motherfucker."
But did you want that to look at him like, bring balance to the Force, you will. Way to go, master. Wiped out the Force. Like, that's what he should have done.
That's what I was. I wanted him to be like, "Oh, right, yeah."
You're a ghost. I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Oh my god! I don't.
I
know.
was so hopeful. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna get it, but at the same time, I was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if he was like, "Oh, cute."
Sir,
Come
where have
on,
you been?
come on, you
Sir,
ghost! I got a lot to say about you, and you got nothing but time.
I'm gonna haunt
Be
you
like,
now.
"The fuck have you been, buddy?"
Couldn't help out. Give us
Could
a
have
clue?
used you. Could have
Little
used
help.
you.
Little help here, sir. Little help.
You know what? I beat Darth Maul. You bastard. All right, let's move forward and let's talk about the obvious opponent to this show, Ms. Marvel. There's so much hype for this show because of inclusivity. What obviously Marvel is setting up. Will this hint toward any new movies coming out? And just like overall, just fandom. I think one of the best things that I enjoyed about Miss Marvel, the idea, we're not going to go into the show just yet until I call upon the person, is the fact that it engages the teenage audience. We're going to putting more teenagers in the Marvel universe. So now we don't just have adults, and really what we have Chris, we have Dr. Banner, and I'm forgetting one more besides that man, who's like the last remnants of like the old Avengers. So it's like a new cast. So it's like, will Ms. Marvel kind of come on the new Avengers? Will she be in the movies? Depending on how things goes. So far, this has just been an awesome, awesome thing. My director is telling me that I should ask you, if you are Team Kenobi, let us know. If you are Team Ms. Marvel, let us know. If you don't know just yet, we're gonna go to Burgie and see why he thinks maybe you should consider being Team Ms. Marvel. Burgie.
Oh man, we got to start with this show. I'm absolutely loving what they're doing with the Miss Marvel show. One issue I have with it is that her powers are different, but I get it as to how they're doing it with she's part of the quantum realm in a way with her powers. I think they've done a great job with the stylization of the direction of it and the way they're doing background images and the way they're keeping it more towards the kids. So you look at some of the stuff on the wall where she's talking about her powers and she wants to do the costume, and you see all the different things on the background of the graffiti, and it's changing to like, Black Panther Miss Marvel or the Iron Man Miss Marvel. And the way that they're doing this, I think it's actually keeping the younger crowd into it because of the way they're stylizing it. I love the direction. I love the way they're making some of the stuff. Then another one of the episodes where she's laying back on her bed and it's like the tapestry and it's like the text messaging back and forth between one of the other, clandestine people. Like, I like the way they're doing some of the stuff. I like how she's struggling with learning her powers, how she's trying to figure out the background story. I do have an issue that they're not sticking with the comic book lore as the way she came up as being an Inhuman. And the Terrigen Mist is what changed her because of what happened at the Avengers like Comic Con, and that's how it happened. And it was basically on one of the sea base ships and stuff that they had. I think they're doing a little bit more with it, and I think it's going to be one of those shows that at the end of it, it's all said and done. We are going to see her as part of the Marvels movie because the next Marvel movie is called Miss Marvel, Mrs. Marvel. They're not doing it just as Captain Marvel. They're doing it as multiple. So it's going to be Photon, her, and Captain Marvel. I've heard a lot of rumors. They want Brie Larson out, so they're trying to go with other characters for it. So she would be an excellent one to take up the mantle for Marvel, but they're going to change the realm of outer space to now. But then she does have, that type of power. And you find out that she's a djinn, magical power, different realm. There's a lot of stuff they've put into it. Some stuff I don't agree with. A lot of stuff I do agree with, and I do enjoy it.
Okay.
It's one of those ones, again, I'm happy I'm getting like more superhero stuff on TV. It is geared more towards the younger kids. They're showing the kid powers. They're leading up to a Young Avengers and stuff like that because we've already seen that with Wanda and other stuff that they've posted. America Chavez, we've got her. I think this is something that could definitely lead into a Young Avengers series or something different. I'm giving it a solid 8, maybe 8.5, but I want to see what they're going to do with the last episode. I watched today's. I want to see what they're going to do with the last episode and see how they're going with the villains and how they're doing some stuff. So that's where I'm saying 8.5 is my goal right now.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Kat, it's your time to shine. Oh, yeah.
I am going to start off with my rating because my rating is the exact same as Bershie's. I actually wanted to give it a slightly higher score, but I feel like there's something missing and I can't quite put my finger on it yet. So I can't bump it up. I have to keep it at the 8. I agree with the stylistic choices. It very much reminded me of the Spider-Man films and also Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They've taken the lessons that they've learned about what works. These younger generations that these are geared to have grown up with media and with like quick looks at things so the fact that everything's always moving and changing, it keeps people engaged. It keeps me engaged because I have kind of a short attention span now too, where I can't just watch TV anymore. I'm watching TV while I'm playing games on my phone or like doing other things. Like we've all become so distracted and so much multitaskers that it's very smart that they took. And this is where I'm talking about the Diary of the Wimpy Kid thing, where you have these graphics going on constantly to kind of keep your eyes and your focus engaged while you're watching them build this story. I do feel that the story at times is a little bit slow. That they could trim out some of the extra stuff because I feel like in the long run it's not really adding anything to it, but it's solid. I wish they had stuck close to the source material, but I'm trusting that there's a reason why they're not sticking to the source material. What they've given us so far has been more good than bad as a whole. And I'm speaking of Marvel when I say this, so I'm putting my faith in that they're going to do right by everything. And this is sincerely for me, outside of the WandaVision TV series, the first female-driven thing that Marvel has put out that I'm super excited about. Like, I'm excited when a new episode comes out, and I kind of feel like I've been lacking that lately. But yeah, I'd give it a solid 8 as well. Bergie, I agree with all your points, and that's really all I had to add there. They took their lessons from how successful the Spider-Man series were and brought that in here, and it's working really well for them. I'm fully on board and invested, and I can't wait to see what this young lady does.
Thank you. Grouch Man.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, Your score and your review. Go.
My score on this one is going to be 7.5 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone else, I'm waiting to see what that last episode gives us
Mm-hmm.
because I understand like this one is geared more towards the teenage audience, and they're trying to get that teenage angst into the show because it's that standard Marvel coming of age. It's like, hey, you've got powers, you're a teenager, what are you going to do with this? So it's that metaphor of going through puberty being placed on having superpowers, and how are you going to deal with it? And I do feel as though they are going the right way with it because they're saying, hey, look, she's got her teenage problems, she's got her regular problems, she's got her church problem. Well, I'm sorry, her mosque problems. And now she's got this on top. How is she going to handle this? How do you juggle all this? Who do you have supporting you when you were going through all this? And for some young people, it's like, hey, I can see myself in that. I'm going through this, this, and this. Who do I have supporting me? Where's where's the person that's backing me on this? I need that support. And they're trying to show it's like, hey, that support may be somewhere close nearby. You don't know, but try to find it and you may be surprised. Because, it took her what?
Right.
Four episodes to tell her other best friends, like, hey, I have superpowers, by the way. And that's how it typically happens with kids. It's like, hey, I'm going to tell this one person that I really trust about this, and we're going to try to deal with it together. And then this person is going to find out about it. And how are they going to deal with it? Because in episode 5, she sure did not talk to her best friend at all. You just saw text message, text, no response. And that's how it happens.
Okay.
And it's just the parallels between having the powers and having other things going on with your person about who can you trust. That's what it's about. Who can you trust? Go somewhere, learn about yourself, figure out how you are, what you're going to be, who you're going to be. Who can you trust? Who can you tell this to? She hasn't told her brother. She hasn't told her new sister-in-law. She hasn't told her mom. She hasn't told her dad. The only other person outside of her 2 best friends that know is her grandma, because grandma was there. Grandma used the gauntlet. Grandma knows what's up with the gauntlet. That's why she's like, hey, you need to come home so we can talk about this gauntlet and we can try to figure this out for the family and yourself and see where we're going to go with this. Because that's that one family member was like, you don't have to tell me what's going on. I can see what's going on with you. So I'm going to reach out to you because I know ain't nobody else in the family trying to talk to you about this because they probably don't know. So come see grandma. Grandma talk to you about it. Grandma cook you some old school food that you like.
Grandma knows how to get to us all the time. I'm not gonna lie, that wedding though looked amazing, and I wanted.
Oh my
Dude,
god!
Right? Yeah.
That wedding was dope.
And then they busted out the little boobs, and I was like, oh, I want to be part. I don't even know these people. They'd have been like, how'd you get in? Who invited you? Myself?
No, sir.
Listen, when you already have 1,000 guests, what's one more?
Well, no one's gonna know.
Exactly. Bro, they straight Bollywooded it up on that
They
dance. They're like,
did.
oh, guess what? Bollywood, let's go. Let's go. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think if I could just interrupt for 1 second,
Yes.
I think everyone here hit on major points. I'm just waiting for everybody to talk about the inclusivity, because for me, what really stands out in this show is just that it's mostly Pakistani Americans or Pakistani people who are of the Muslim faith, who are the main characters. Even the background characters for the majority. Obviously, we have her friend. I want to say he is Caucasian, but he is the only Caucasian that we see there. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. Am I wrong?
Like that TikTok video
No.
where a bunch of African Americans and Mark.
What did Mark do to get down with the crew?
So I think for maybe honestly a TV series full of inclusivity for another religion and ethnicity to be very present, to be popular. We're all giving it. So far, you guys have given it 8. Reports supposedly that Disney viewership was down, but it's still successful. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to
Aw.
talk about that because you know what? A lot of people were like, "Oh, Rotten Tomatoes said this," and we can't necessarily believe Rotten Tomatoes
No.
anyway. You know, I'm not saying Rotten Tomatoes said that, but I'm just using that as an example. You know, and I know for a fact it's very popular, not just here in the Americas, but overseas because it's the fact that we get to learn about a different culture, and you know what? They told us the truth about the history. They told us, you know, how bad Britain was, you know, toward them, and it's just like, oh snap, they did that, you know. But I'm gonna let you speak, and then I'll just give my quick summary.
Well, I was almost done, so I will keep this brief. It's just, it's a good show. I enjoy the show. I like where it's going, and I understand like if it's going to be a series, this is the first series. This is the first, the first season. It's got to have that build up. You can't just like bam, here's everything all at once. Oh, how can you take? No, it's that slow build up. They got plans for later on. Guess what? I'm here for those plans because you're like, here's this hook, here's this hook, here's that hook. Do we got you? We got you. Here's another hook. We're just gonna keep hooking you. Are you ready? Are you ready? We're rolling. You gonna stick with us next season? We got more coming. Let's go.
Do we though?
Do we?
As I'm pretty sure this is a limited series. There's rumors that she's part of the movie. She might be part of Ironheart, which is Riri Williams, and she might be part of Armor Wars, which is supposed to be Justin Hammer with Ironheart and Don Cheadle's character, War Machine. So there's rumors that she might be in a few of them to help out.
Can we have the Punisher come through though? I'm just saying.
I mean,
It's
what?
coming. They're all coming.
Yeah.
I think so.
Just got to be patient. I heard the same thing that this is a limited series. I'm not going to say that I'm the most up to date on that, but that is what I went into watching this thinking, which is why I said the pacing was a little bit slow. Like I'm like, we only have so many episodes and there's still so much story to tell if it's going towards any kind of resolution.
Right.
But I am along for the ride. One season or more. I'm happy that we're getting this. I love that. To Mayhem's point, we have an there are so many shows that are centered around one ethnicity, and we're not going to say it because we all know what it is.
White.
But to have another show that is centered around an ethnicity that is not the typical one and just treated like this, not treating it as groundbreaking, but just this is just normal. Like just, like when Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, what would be equality at Supreme Court? And she said, if they were all women, because it's been all men for so many years, what's so radical about it one day being all women? But we need to get to a point where all of that is normalized. And I love how Disney is doing that with Ms. Marvel in a way that is respectful and authentic, which is why Black Panther was so successful, because they did the same thing.
I agree with you there, Kat. I do like that they are sticking with the, it's culturally appropriate. They're not,
Yeah.
you
have these
doing
little
anything.
pockets of.
Yeah, they're doing different stuff. I like how they're also talking about, like, when they're in the mosque, it's got where they're doing the voting. So they are doing democracy. They're doing different stuff, but they're not like just making it like, hey, it's all about white people. We are still making it about our culture, our traditions. They're sticking with it. I've loved the way the wedding, I thought, was amazing and beautiful to see all that on a big screen, where you don't really see that on a lot of stuff unless it's like a crazy episode in like a comedy show or something on like, ABC or something. So I like that they've kept this going and they're sticking with it, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, and even in the mosque where they have the girls in the back like talking junk and playing on their phones, like I grew up Catholic, sitting in the back of the church. We didn't have phones back then, but I was doing everything but paying attention. So like I get it. Like it's nice to see things are, which we already know they're universal, but they're playing it as we're getting to see it as a universal thing, and hopefully helping bridge gaps between peoples and religions and stuff, because we all need more of that anyway right now. We've always done all of that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. And I also like how it's like they're showing I think it's like the police, but it's not the police. They're like almost like the Superhuman Act or something like that. They're involved in it because they're trying to figure out someone with a new power. Is she good? Is she bad? That type of stuff. I hope they don't treat it as she's a bad person or something like that and make it worse with today's political society going on. But we'll see what they do. I don't think they're going to go that route. I don't think Disney will shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Disney's going to want to go there.
No, I know they did a lot of that with the Falcon. You know, in Winter Soldier, they stuck to their guns on that stuff. But I think with this one, they're not going to go too political with it. They're going to try to dodge a little bit with some of that to try to stay off some of the radar of some of the people.
Okay. I'm gonna come in there real quick, all right? Because I know. All right, so let me give my, because we're having fun. Let me give my. I think my
His
score would be
haterade.
no, not at all. I'm giving it an 8 as well. What's missing from this is Marvel. I don't know what's going on with the writing team as of lately. They're not completing their sentences with these series, and what I mean by that is there's something missing, or they're not fully expanding upon the idea of. Right. So because they're constantly, and it's not just the series, it's the movies too. The movies keep feel so like some things were changed, some things were left out. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not fully complete, and it something's happening now. Obviously, maybe because of the political temperature right now, they had to take certain things out. Due to maybe certain mandates, the pandemic, or just other things. I could definitely understand that, but they need to finish what they started for it to be a full 9 plus. That said, with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we talked about this on the list maybe a couple episodes ago, where we were like, it was a great series, a great premise, but they didn't close it out. Yes, they had the message that was amazing. They had great memes, amazing, great character chemistry, amazing. But the villain, it just wasn't. It felt unfinished. And if there was a bigger idea, they stuck to it as much as possible without being like, you know what, this is gonna alienate some of our fans even more. Let's pull it back. Mia goes, Marvel is getting soft. I don't know if they're getting soft. I just think they're just gauging or gauging wrongly, at least, what stories to put and how to do everything. Now, to be fair, because Kat, I'm going to let you speak right after this. I saw you get ready.
I had nothing to say. Go.
Okay, so I think they're also trying to change up everything in the universe, and I don't know how that's going over there, and I'm okay for it. Like the fact that she's not an Inhuman, but more of a Jinn, and I believe that's spelled Djinn, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's amazing. That shows a different side of like.
Humans didn't do well.
I think it showed. Yeah, no, humans suck. Even Black Bolt suck. Like he just died. Like anyway. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie. I'm not even gonna tell you what movie it is, but it just makes no sense. Why would you scream with your mouth closed?
He panicked. He panicked.
But
I don't even think he screamed. I think he breathed.
No. Hear me out.
He like
no. He went and that happened. I'm not. You have to understand that man lives a life of control, like Scott Summers. Scott Summers wakes up and doesn't open his eyes. You understand? This man knows not to speak beyond a decibel point.
But I don't blame him for that. I blame Reed Richards for that.
I blame him.
Reed Richards messed that up. Why do you give away your best weapon right away? Like, he could, annihilate you just
drama.
A word.
It's drama. Like they could have possibly killed Wanda if they, because remember the hubris of the council.
Yes.
So
that's why they pretty much died. But then that goes for comics.
And that part kind of rubbed me wrong too, because all of these people should have known better.
Right?
Every single member of that council were out of pocket and should have known better.
They even said, we know about Wanda Maximoff. We know how to handle her and her type.
But even if they didn't sincerely think she was a threat, to come in that cocksure,
but
when you don't know what's coming.
But the problem was that's not the Illuminati.
Yes, Mia, silly.
It's not the Illuminati.
That's what I was
missing 2 to 3 key members of that Illuminati.
It doesn't.
Superior Iron Man should have been part of that. Black Panther should have been part of that, and Namor was part of that.
I agree.
You're missing 3 key.
You're missing
components.
3 people, but you had Reed Richards, who's supposed to be the most brilliant man in the universe, and Professor Xavier. I know,
5.
debatable, but he's supposed to be
Yep.
pretty effing smart. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Can I just say one
and
thing?
You had Professor Xavier. I'm not even going to get into the rest of the Illuminati, but at least those 2 people should have been smarter.
So here's the thing, Kat. Smartest person aside, because it's Doom, his daughter Valeria, him, as well as Moon Girl.
Actually,
and Ironheart.
was smarter than all of them. Thank you.
I Has it been fully finalized?
Yes and no. It keeps changing depending on who. It
Who's
depends on who's
writing?
Yeah.
writing.
Okay, so she has the ability. All right, so I'm technically right and wrong at the same time. That said, the reason why they didn't know, thank you, baby. The reason why they didn't know is because the way they handle. You have to understand. Reed Richards' character is generally one track minded, and he's always shown not to be as humorous as Doctor Doom, but he's not always focused on the topic at hand. Charles Xavier is just. I don't think he's really smart, you know. Now that I think about it, like this character, like he is smart. I don't think he's
He's
intelligent.
intelligent.
I will not stand for X-Men slander.
I'm not. I listen. I love me some X Men, especially the new X Men, Jonathan Hickman, even though he left. Dawn of X, all that great stuff. But when you think about it, Xavier was more experienced than smart because if you read Dawn of X, the way he handled things was trash. You know, he's just experienced guy who has telepathy. So it's just like, Peggy Carter. I honestly think is my next Captain America. I love the fact, or Britain Core, if you want to say that's mixed. I think she does an amazing job, and unfortunately, she was the last one standing, and
Which
when you
made
can't
no
throw the
damn
shield,
sense. But
when
whatever.
but listen,
Whatever.
when all you can do is throw the shield, you know what I'm saying? And then you had Black
Only
Bolt.
to get Darth Mauled.
Yeah, seriously. But then
Facts.
then you have Black Bolt who panics, and it's just like, really, bro, like really, like come on. But we went totally left field.
Don't we
What a game
always
plan.
though? Don't we
Yes.
always?
There's a
Um,
whole other show.
so the man, the myth, the legend, Virgie. What's up?
What up,
Um,
Josh?
so with Ms. Marvel, I love the inclusivity. I really hope that within the next, well, I gotta watch 5 and 6. They start tying certain things up, but allowing us to expand upon that universe. I hope they bring in more characters. I hope they develop this into something than just this is just a test series, kind of deal. Because although inclusivity is dope, do it right. Show the culture and make it a standout series. Because aside from that, all we had was Black Panther, which is a movie, and we're getting the second movie. We have leaks coming out, and although we're not getting Namor, we're getting somebody like we're still waiting for that. I think this is amazing. I love the representation. I love the authenticity of it. They speak the actual language, and I'm gonna butcher it.
Sosa.
No, it's Yuru. I believe I'm saying it wrong,
I
but
thought
the
it was
actual
Sosa.
that was probably when they were in the Americas, but when they're actually on the flight there, which I think is episode 4, they actually Guru. I'm saying it wrong. They were actually
Oh, you mean
speaking
Miss Marvel?
Ms. Marvel. Yes,
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking Black Panther. Sorry, my
no
apologies.
problem.
No.
No, yeah. So with the X, I know. I really hope as well Marvel gets it together, develop the concept and write it out fully. It's like an essay. All right, you can't just be like, why Mayhem Beard has gray in it. Nature. you
Time.
know,
Nature.
definitely explain it, and I think we'll be back on track. I mean, they have nothing to worry about. It's not like DC's getting it together, but at the
Mm-mm.
same time, don't drop the ball even when you're ahead. Don't
We
be
could
the
have left
rabbit.
DC out of this.
Don't
Could have
don't be the rabbit and the tortoise in the hare. You know what I'm saying? One last thing, I am looking forward to seeing what they do with the Marvels, because anybody will tell you I was the biggest smack talker for Captain Marvel. I was like, oh, it's gonna blow DC out the way. Wonder Woman's not gonna have any chance. And then I had to eat my words because the load of garbage. Shout out to the
So
scroll.
did Marvel. Marvel had eat their words too. Don't
Yes,
worry.
yeah. And you know what? I think I'd be interested in giving Brie Larson another chance, provided that she has a good script. But if they're gonna depart with her, I hope they do it right. Is all I'm gonna say.
Well, the problem with her movie was the best lines were done by Samuel L. Jackson. Fury.
It's-
He had all the best
Samuel L.
lines in that
Jackson.
movie and stuff like that. I know it's it's Samuel L. Jackson, but
They really didn't. And we all know this is not a secret for me. I do have an issue with how Marvel does its female-driven stuff. I don't
Mhm.
think that they give it the amount of care and respect and all of that other stuff that they do some of their other films. And that was one of my things that really upset me about Captain Marvel because I wanted to love it. I'm not one of those people where I want to see either house fail.
Mhm.
There's plenty room at the table for everybody to eat. I want everyone to do well. I want everyone to get their chance. That's why the Black Widow movie upset me. That's why Captain Marvel upset me. They deserve to have their chance too, and I don't think that they were given the opportunity to. Brie Larson and Other Things is magnificent.
Scott
So
Pilgrim.
it's not, it wasn't her.
Right.
It was the movie itself. And I would love for them to give her a do-over, but I know that the tide is ever moving forward.
Mhm.
And we're already into other phases. And with Photon and Ms. Marvel and all of these other characters that are coming out, there really is no room for her. She's already kind of aged out of it.
Agreed.
So I hate that for her. But, you know, just like in football, you play it where it's, you know, where it lands. You can't reset it.
Luckily, Marvel has so many opportunities. You know, we lost one Black Widow, we got another, and honestly, if we can get the other Hawkeye, you know what I'm saying, the other Archer in with I think that would make a great series, female-driven, great series. But you know, once again, these are opportunities that need to be taken advantage of. Oh, her name is Kate Bishop. Am I correct? Kate
Yes,
Bishop.
Kate Bishop.
If we can have that developed, then we'll be eating our words. Hopefully, next time we talk about this, which is hopefully next couple of months, you know. So make it happen, make it make sense, make it all fit. We're still here. We want to see everybody win. Legitimately, we want to see everybody win. And you know what? I'm all for inclusivity of any and everybody. So you know what? Bring back the skulls. Bring back, you know, all LGBTQ characters as well.
Secret
You know,
Invasion.
Secret Invasion. You know, do everything because the crazy thing is, oh my god, I can't wait to the Love and Thunder. Anyway, I can't wait to like
Same.
you know because people were getting so crazy about the fact that Thor was a woman. I don't get it. And you know what? I'd argue she was a better Thor than him at the time. But you have to read the comics. We'll come back another time. Listen, my manager's telling me we have to go. This has been the 4-Letter Nerd, a Hyrule Geek Kicks Unlimited production. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Burgie for joining us. The
Thank
man,
you for
the
having
myth,
me.
the legend, the beard himself. We hope to see you so much more in the coming episodes. Thank you to my fellow co-hosts, obviously Grouch Man, and the tale of two cats. So
You're dead.
You're gonna die.
I
You're gonna die, and it's
I
okay.
had to say it so that way she can curse at me. This has been 4-Letter Nerd. Until next time, please let us know in the comments and on our page. You can go to our page on Facebook. Let us know which team you are and why. Until next time, we need a good catchphrase. Deuces? Bye.
No.
May the nerd be with you. There you go.
Oh, there you go. I like it.
Nerd be with you.
Yay!
May
Later.
the nerd be with you.
And also with you.
Gotcha.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he hit. Oh, look at that.
He just took
Look at
himself
that. The
off.
producer didn't messed up. He hit the wrong button. He
took him-
removed himself.
That
took
was
himself out.
that was
We
karma.
talking about you. Yeah, we talking
That
about
was
you.
that got him right there.
The
We're still
producer.
live too, Mayhem.
We are. The producer hit the wrong button. I'm like,
Excuse us for our
he did
technical
not do an outro. Where
difficulties.
did he go? He
Our
gone.
producer deuced himself out and forgot the rest of us.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
still here.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, because the producer and the host forgot, this is 4-Letter Nerd.
There's only one
Brought to you
thing.
by Hyrule Geek Kicks Unlimited. We're gone.